As per the World Accident Statistic Report, while having the investigation, it is found that the 65% of the accident, the main root cause was unavailability of risk assessment or improper risk assessment. Risk assessment is having main and important role in occupational health and safety management system. It is recognized by many international HSE bodies. It's also recognized by many HSE international standards like ANSI, ASTM, ISO 45001 and OSAS. Risk assessment is playing an important role to identify the hazard and associated risk and to have the control measures to reduce the level of those risks to the acceptable level. By this way, we can reduce the accident on our workplace. Today, we are going to discuss about the fundamental of the risk assessment. Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel HSE Consultant. My name is Engineer Abdul Wahab. Today we will discuss about the risk assessment fundamentals. As you know, the risk assessment is the main and major part of any health and safety management system. Risk assessment is like the backbone of risk management system. Having a proper risk management system, we can reduce the number of accidents on our workplace. Risk assessment is also important as a legal compliance. In this presentation, we will discuss about the fundamentals of the risk assessment and to have a proper knowledge about those fundamentals of the risk assessment. Let's see what is the learning outcome of this presentation. The first learning outcome is the purpose of risk assessment. What is the purpose of the risk assessment? Why we are going to have the risk assessment? What will be the scope of risk assessment? What will be the criteria of risk assessment? What is the purpose of the risk assessment? Then we will discuss about the context of the risk assessment. What is the context of the risk assessment? What are the boundaries of the risk assessment? What will be the resources that are going to be used for the risk assessment? What is the timeline for that risk assessment? What are the methods that are going to be used for that risk assessment? Then thirdly, we are going to discuss about the risk assessment team. What will be the size of the risk assessment team? What will be the qualification of the risk assessment team? What will be the knowledge of the risk assessment team? How we will select the risk assessment team? And what are the skills that is necessary to be the member of the risk assessment team? How we are going to select the risk assessment team from the different departments? So these will be the learning outcome of this presentation. Let's see what is the purpose of the risk assessment. As you know that our organizational goal is to reduce the accident in our workplace. To reduce the accident in our workplace, we must have a proper risk assessment. And the first step of that risk assessment is identifying the hazards that are present on our workplace and the associated risk of those hazards. Then we are going to evaluate the level of those risks. Either that risks are on high level, medium level or low level. And what will be our acceptable level? If the risk is higher than our acceptable level, then we are going to decide the control measures for those risks to reduce them to our acceptable level. But all those control measures will be according to the hierarchy of control. That is elimination, substitution, engineering control, administration control, and PPE. In many countries of the world, the risk assessment is a legal compliance, like European countries, United States of America, as well as some Eastern countries. Risk assessment is also important to have a better decision making, to reduce the accident, to train our employees, to make our workplace safe, to satisfy our employees as well as the clients. So these all are the purpose of the risk assessment, why we are going to have a proper and explained risk assessment for our workplace. Let's see what is the context of the risk assessment. The context of the risk assessment composed of the purpose of the risk assessment and the scope of risk assessment. The purpose is why we are going to have this risk assessment. And the scope of risk assessment is what the activity or process or the part of plant we are going to assess to identify the hazard and associated risk and control measures. So all the scope and purpose of the risk assessment should be clear and well communicated to everybody. Risk assessment team, top management and as well as workers. There will be some external parameters and internal parameters for the risk assessment. There will be the selection of the team. How we are going to select the team, who will be the member of the team, from which department we will take how many people, what will be the qualification of the team, what will be the experience of the team, what are the skills required for that team, and what will be the size of the team, and how we are going to manage the team to have a one conclusion about the risk assessment. Then in the context of the risk assessment, we will discuss about the methodology of the risk assessment and the criteria of the risk. What will be the methods to identify the hazard, associated risk, and the analysis of the risk and control measures. What are the resources that will be used for the risk assessment and how we are going to allocate that resources for the proper risk assessment. Then we will identify what are the risk levels that are present in our workplace and what is our organizational acceptable risk level. Then our risk assessment should also be time bounded so that we can conclude our risk assessment and have a proper identification of hazard, risks, and the level of risk and control measures, and then we have to communicate all this one to our workforce, top management, and the implementation team. In short, the context of the risk assessment is very important and it should be very clear and communicated with everybody in the team. So let's see how we are going to select our team. Risk assessment team selection. The first point is our team should be cross-functional. We will take people from different departments. Some person we will take from production department, maintenance department, laboratory. We can take some people from finishing department. Also, we can have a person from outside like client representative, like some third party. So our team should be a cross-functional team. It should compose of the people from different departments to have a well-mixed team so that the people from different departments they can share their knowledge to identify the hazard as well as the associated risk. The second one is the knowledge of experience and hazard identification and risk assessment. So each member of the team should have some knowledge about the identification of the hazard as well as the risk assessment, analysis of the risk, evaluation of the risk, control measures, what will be our acceptable level of the risk, and what are the actual risk level that is present on our side. So all this knowledge should be acquired by each member of this team. The third point is the team should be committed with the purpose and the scope of risk assessment. They should not go beyond the boundaries of the risk assessment. They should only assess those parts of the plant which is included in the scope of the risk assessment. Because if we are going to assess the other parts, it is going to be detract. So the scope and the purpose of the risk assessment will not be fulfilled. So there should be a facilitator among the people that can keep the team on track. Also, if there is some issue raised between the team, the facilitator is going to solve that issue. That the team should be comprised of 3 to 10 people. The people less than 3 is not good to identify the hazard and associated risk. Maybe some underlying hazard and risk will not be identified with the people less than 3 in the risk assessment team. But if we are going to have more than 10 people in the risk assessment team, it is hard to handle them and conclude their decisions. So the team should be between 3 to 10. A well-organized and well-managed risk assessment team will lead to have a proper and concluded risk assessment. The fifth one is good facilitator. The good facilitator is the important part of risk assessment team because he is going to have the communication between the workforce, management, and the team, as well as the facilitator is going to have the team on track, not to go beyond the scope and the purpose of the risk assessment. He should also be responsible that every member is having equal chance to show his findings. There are some people who is going to emphasize on their point of view, not recognizing others' point of view. The facilitator is going to nullify that effect. A good facilitator is the most important key in a risk assessment team. That's all for this time. If you like this video, kindly share and subscribe my YouTube channel to have more videos. Thank you so much. Bye bye.